The greatest thing I ever lost wasn't my inheritance. It was my sister. And the saddest part is that neither of us realized we had buried each other long before we buried our mother. At 68 years old, I know something I wish I had understood at 32. Pride is one of the few things that grows stronger the longer you feed it. Mine survived 3 decades, 2 weddings, 4 grandchildren, and countless opportunities to simply pick up the telephone. Then one small key destroyed 36 years of silence. If you stay with me, I'll tell you how my younger sister and I allowed a misunderstanding over our mother's estate to steal half of our lives, and why the most valuable thing we inherited had been waiting for us all along, locked inside a forgotten safe deposit box. My sister's name is Helen. She was born 4 years after me. As children, we were inseparable. We shared a bedroom until I left for college. Every Christmas Eve we slept in the same bed because we were too excited to wait for morning. When I was 12, I broke my ankle climbing the old oak tree behind our house. Helen refused to leave my side in the hospital. She even slept in a chair beside my bed. People used to say we looked like twins. Not because we shared the same face. Because wherever one of us went, the other wasn't far behind. Then life became complicated. I married young. Helen moved across the state for work. We still spoke every Sunday evening. We never missed birthdays. When our father died, we stood shoulder to shoulder holding our mother's hands through the funeral. I thought nothing could ever come between us. I underestimated grief. Our mother lived another 17 years after Dad passed away. When she died at 91, we were both heartbroken. She had left a simple will. The house would be sold. The savings divided equally. Everything looked straightforward. Until the jewelry box disappeared. Mother owned only one truly valuable piece. A diamond brooch that had belonged to our grandmother. She always said it would stay in the family. When the lawyer couldn't find it, suspicion quietly entered the room. Helen asked first. "You didn't take it, did you?" The question wasn't loud. But it landed like a slap. I stared at her. "Why would you even ask me that? You were here more often. So now I'm a thief?" "I didn't say that. You didn't have to." Neither of us apologized. The funeral had ended only 3 days earlier. Our relationship ended the same week. Months passed. Then years. The brooch was never found. Family gatherings became impossible. If Helen attended Christmas, I stayed home. If I visited Aunt Margaret, Helen waited until I left. Our children grew up barely knowing one another. My grandson once asked me why he had cousins he'd never met. I changed the subject. It was easier than admitting I no longer remembered exactly how the argument had begun. Pride has a terrible habit. It convinces you that time is proving you're right. In reality, time is only making the distance harder to cross. Every birthday I considered calling. Every birthday I decided she should call first. I was older. Surely she owed me that. I imagined she thought exactly the same. 36 years disappeared that way. One ordinary excuse at a time. Then, 6 months after my 68th birthday, my phone rang. The caller was Mother's old attorney. "I've found something." "What?" "A safe deposit box. There appears to have been a clerical error many years ago. The box has never been opened. Legally, both you and your sister must be present." My stomach tightened. I haven't spoken to her in decades. I understand. But the law doesn't. The meeting was scheduled for the following Thursday. I barely slept the night before. When I entered the bank's private room, Helen was already there. She looked older. Of course she did. So did I. Her hair had turned completely white. Mine had too. For a moment we simply stared at each other. 36 years of anger suddenly looked incredibly old. "Hello, Margaret." Her voice sounded exactly the same. "Hello, Helen." That was all. The bank manager placed the small metal box on the table. He unlocked it, then quietly left us alone. Inside were several envelopes, a velvet pouch, and a handwritten letter. Neither of us reached for the pouch. Instead, Helen picked up Mother's letter. Her hands trembled. "I don't think I can read it." "I will," I whispered. I unfolded the paper. The first line stole the air from the room. "If you're reading this together, then you've already wasted too much time." Neither of us moved. Mother continued. "I know both of you better than you know yourselves. If the brooch ever disappears, I also know exactly what you'll do. You'll suspect each other before you trust each other." I looked at Helen. She was already crying. The letter explained everything. Years before she died, Mother had hidden the brooch herself. Not because she feared thieves. Because she feared what expensive things could do to people. She wanted us to discover it only after enough years had passed for us to realize how foolish the argument had been. Then came the final paragraph. "If either of you would trade one more afternoon together for that brooch, then sell the brooch immediately. Sisters are harder to replace than diamonds." The room fell silent. Helen covered her face. "I never took it." "I know. I never believed you really did." "I know." Those words broke me. All those years, neither of us had truly believed the other was guilty. We had simply become too proud to admit we'd been wrong. The velvet pouch still sat unopened between us. Finally, Helen untied the ribbon. Inside was the brooch. It sparkled exactly as I remembered from Mother's Sunday dresses. Beautiful. And suddenly, completely unimportant. Helen pushed it toward me. "You keep it." I shook my head. "No. We'll sell it." She smiled through tears. Just like Mom predicted. We laughed. The first laugh we'd shared in 36 years. Outside the bank, we stood awkwardly on the sidewalk. "I don't know how to start over," Helen admitted. I reached for her hand. "We already did." That afternoon we had lunch together. We talked for 5 hours. Not about the inheritance. About children. Grandchildren. Operations. Gardens. Recipes. All the ordinary conversations we'd been missing since Ronald Reagan was president. Today, 6 years later, Helen and I speak every evening at 7. Just like we used to. Sometimes we don't even have anything important to say. That no longer matters. Silence is no longer punishment. It's simply comfortable. The money from the brooch paid for a college scholarship in our mother's name. Neither of us wanted to keep it. She had already given us something far more valuable. A second chance. If you're waiting for someone else to make the first phone call, may I ask you something? If they died tonight, would you still believe winning the argument was worth it? I thought I had plenty of time. 36 years proved how quickly pride can disguise itself as patience. The little key that opened Mother's safe deposit box unlocked something much bigger. It unlocked 2 sisters who had been trapped inside their own stubborn hearts. And I thank God. It wasn't too late.